book, a police procedural years ago about two cities that live next to each other, but nobody ever went to the other city. And it's a little bit like that, living on Cape Cod.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite books ever. I can't
Yeah.
believe I've never heard anybody bring that book up. If you haven't read it, The City and the City.
Is that what it's called? The City and the City? That idea still sticks with me today. Here, I'll put a link in.
It's one of my favorite books of my life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, I have not read that book, but I'm going to have to. And Leah, if you can see on my wall, do you recognize that map?
Yeah.
That's Cape Cod.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, excellent.
Spent a lot of time there. I'm in Boulder now, but
awesome.
Yeah, I miss it. What town are you in?
Falmouth.
Falmouth. Awesome.
Yeah, we'll come back, but wait 2 weeks.
Right. I only like Cape Cod in the fall these days.
That is the time to live here, yeah.
All right.
I spend a lot of time off Cape Cod too, so I'm here, but I travel all around.
Nice.
All right, I'm looking at the link for The City in the City.
All right, so let's get rolling. We're rolling. So welcome to the AI Salon. Leah and I are your hosts. As always, Leah, great to see you.
Hello, Kyle. How are you?
I am doing really, really well. It feels like vacation is like I feel oddly disconnected, and the world of AI right now is getting very weird. So I actually want to talk about some of the weirdness tonight. So I think if it's a little off, I think that's where I am right now. So
yeah, I definitely feel that. I think that your kids are a little bit older, so you're out of the rhythms of like summer vacations in school. But I think for those of us on the call with parents, with kids who are momming and parenting, I think that by August, there's this like revelation of how amazing it is to spend so much time with kids and like the gifts and making memories. And it's really cool. And it's fleeting because summer is ending, and just this total like, oh my God, I've been parenting for 2 months.
Yeah.
So, and then that kind of like that parenting world, which is over here, and then the AI world, which is bonkers, and my photo world, and everyone's on Cape Cod vacationing. So I hear you about the weird part.
Yeah, and it feels like the instinct for me right now is things are about to get dramatic. Like AI is about to get dramatically better in the next 2 months, and so I feel like we're in a weird lull before a pending storm, and so it's a very capey kind of.
I see how you pulled it all together.
Yeah, I did that.
Yes, the storm coming up the coast.
Yeah, exactly. So welcome everyone. Let me share my screen here. This is the AI Salon. If you're new here, and we do have some new faces here, which is really exciting. The salon was created. Leah and I started the salon. Our first meeting was December 7th, 2022. So the week after ChatGPT came out. And this meet and greet format, so the third Tuesday of every month is the salon meet and greet. And the whole idea, this is something from our original meetings when we were really small. We had like 8 people show up or 12 people show up. And so everyone would introduce themselves, and then we would usually have a speaker or 2 or 3. We were very ambitious early on. And then the meetings got big enough that we couldn't really do the meet and greet. So what we did is we decided to split them. So the first Tuesday of the month, we call those Salon Presents. And the third Tuesday of the month, which is what this is the meet and greet, where we get to know one another. But before we dive into that,
I'm going to interrupt you real quick because what we're seeing right now is what's that called on your screen when you're sharing the screen, but there isn't anything sharing, so we just see it going back for infinity.
The infinity thing?
Yeah.
Hang on, that's weird.
Infinity screen. Thank you, Brandon. There we go.
On a professional operation here. Now can you see meet and greet?
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. That's so much better.
Oh. So this is the meet and greet, and the idea is, I'd love for you to talk about this too, Leah, but the One of the things I think is going to be increasingly important as AI tools get more and more capable and take over the tasks of what we do, being in trusted communities, like how people are going to get hired is going to decreasingly be about the skills they have and increasingly about sort of who you are and how trusted you are. So I think being in trusted groups like this is really important. Well, talk about that, Leah, because I know you're really passionate about that.
Yeah,
as well.
and I think one of the things that, as we've sort of, I mean, like year and a half going on 2 years into our journey, is that the human is even more important to me now than it was, right? If anything, AI has pushed me away from AI and more towards people and community and building communities and meeting people and getting to know people. And I think the meet and greet, like I noticed that our old salon format, we had a kind of quick meet and greet and then we had a speaker. And I found that I was often drawn to the meet and greets. Like I want to know more about the people in this community. And we come from all over the world with all different backgrounds. And very rarely do we find ourselves in this kind of community with the opportunity to truly meet people and potentially build cool things and try out new things and play. And we'll get to that in a minute. And so I just want to know who people are. Who are you? Where do you come from? What are you excited about? And I think that's what the AI salon is about, right? That is what we are. The salon is a really important word. And I feel like the AI is cool because it brings us all together, but the salon is the piece that I'm really excited about.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree. And there's a playfulness about the salon and an optimism about the salon. There's a lot of drama and angst around AI right now. And what this group has evolved into, or has sort of grown up into, is a group of people that are like, screw it, like it's coming whether we love it or hate it, so we might as well just lean in and have some fun with it.
Well, I was reflecting on today, Kyle sent me Nick St. Pierre put a post on X with a list of --P operators for Midjourney, and what they are is a personalization operator in Midjourney that you can put at the end of your prompt that will style your prompt based on the things you have liked on Midjourney. And Nick St. Pierre put a bunch in that are all very filmy looking P codes. I can share those in the chat once we're up and going and I'm not on camera as much, but I was reflecting on my emotion when Kyle shared that, because they work really well and they make Midjourney images look really filmy and really cool. And I'm a photographer. And so I think the salon is exactly for moments like that, where I'm thinking to myself, what is happening right now? This is strange. Like, what is going on? And now I get to also play with it. And I get to live in this sort of place of being like, I don't know about this AI technology. Wait, I just made this cool thing. Wait, I don't know. I'm kind of like, this is weird. Oh my God, look at this cool picture I just made. And I live in this back and forth. And I don't know a lot of places or communities that I can live there safely. I feel like it's either one or the other.
Yeah, that's a good point, right? Yeah. You've either drunk the Kool-Aid or not. Yeah. And I think that's important here, that we have dialogue about, is this good? Is this bad? Is this real? Is this not? Is this, propaganda? Is this all that sort of stuff? But do it from a place of exploration and adventure, like trying it, rather than being on the sidelines, right? So this is very much a group about diving in and playing and exploring. And then if you choose to hate it, more power to you. But there's so many people right now that don't understand what it is. They have a lot of assumptions about it, and they're just writing it off as either it's not perfect or it's evil or whatever it is, without trying it. And the thing that what makes me sad inside is those people are going to get blindsided by this, and that sucks.
I think the word "and" is a really helpful and powerful word when thinking about generative AI, because I can feel all the things.
Yeah.
I am not as excited about AI as I think a lot of people are, and I'm also not as angry about AI. I live in this kind of like, what do I think about AI? I tend to, if I don't, I like to be in the moment and use the word "and" a lot. I feel like it's a lot easier to navigate some really hard conversations and hard feelings I have about it.
Yeah, you're in AI acceptance purgatory, it sounds like.
Floating around.
So first of all, before we dive in, I want to give a big shout out to Tom. I think it's Nodler, Forever Hooked, who's one of the irregulars on the AI Learning Lab and a member of the salon. just reached out to me and said, hey, if you're doing sponsorships, I'd love to sponsor August. And we forgot to thank him last meeting. So yes, please give the little clap symbols. Thank you, Tom. I don't know if you're in here tonight, but that's really generous. So the salon doesn't cost anything, and we'll walk through the Mighty Networks, our online component, which if you haven't seen it is awesome, and you should be a part of it. That's where we can stay connected in between these meetings. The other thing is, if you go to the salon.ai, we have a new website up there. And one of the links on that website is to our merch store. So if you buy any salon merch, the proceeds of that go to supporting the salon, which also keeps the salon free of charge. So that's pretty swell. So speaking of the community, what we call the journey to AI literacy are these 3 phases: play first, mindfully create, and generously lead. And that's kind of the journey that everyone in the salon goes through. And I think, quite frankly, anyone who's playing with AI, they're generally going through at least the first 2 of these, right? You sort of play with AI, you figure it out, then mindfully create, you're building some things. The generously lead, I think that is something that is quite uniquely the salon, where this is a community of very, very generous people who are willing to share what they know. There's very little proprietary ego bullshit here, which I think is really, really exciting. And Leah and Vicky and I, over the past 2 Saturdays, what's going on here? Oh, sorry, hang on a sec. Have redesigned the onboarding experience at the salon. So I thought it would be good for us to walk through that. So when you come to, so if you go to the salon.ai, or if you go to aisalon.mn.co, that brings you to this site. So this is built on top of the Mighty Networks platform. And when you first land on the site, you land on this welcome page. And the welcome page talks about this journey, the journey to AI literacy. Play first, joyfully exploring generative AI, gaining the knowledge and inspiration to mindfully create, surprising ourselves and powerfully meeting challenges, unleashing us to generously lead others, enriching lives, redefining what's possible, and unlocking a new era of human achievement. So this is our hope for everyone, is that you go through this journey not just once, but over and over and over again, because everything is changing so fast in generative AI right now that the minute you think you're an expert, some new thing comes along and it just totally upsets the apple cart, right? And, so we've got Serena made us this really cool neon image of that journey. So that's that. And then over here on the left, you'll notice, we've got a little get started area, and there are 6 steps to onboarding yourself into the Mighty Networks. The first one is, check out the welcome. The next one is introduce yourself. So there's a whole section in here about introducing yourself in the Mighty Networks community. So if you haven't done that yet, do that. And if you can, put a picture in here, because if you put a picture in, it'll show up like that, and your thing will stand out. You'll introduce yourself tonight, but introduce yourself here as well, so people can see you and interact with you here. And then number 3 is learn our values, and the values for our community are very, very important. And Leah, I'd love for you to you do these very well. I also got rid of "Suck It Up, Buttercup," which you didn't like, so I got rid of that for you.
Okay, thanks. That was that. We're better than that.
Exactly. I'm not, but the salon. But check out our values, and the values are really important. So Leah, why don't you take us away and let's talk about.
Okay, curiosity. The salon started because you and I were curious about AI. I reached out to you because I had questions about Stable Diffusion. I was curious, and here is where we are now.
What the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing?
It's actually what I was saying, yeah. Curiosity, we're eager to ask the obvious questions, learn new things, and experiment. Our relentless quest for adventure and exploration ignites our inner spark, transforming our curiosity into unexpected discoveries and newfound passions. To playfulness. Playfulness. We value creativity, joy, and the freedom to experiment. We play first and transform learning into a captivating journey. We collaborate and mindfully create together when we can, learning more, make friends, and develop new circles of trust. Remember, all work and no play is how we did things before the AI salon.
And I want to pause on this one, Leah, because this one to me is feeling increasingly important. I feel like as AI is getting more capable, there's a lot of fear mongering. There's a lot of, oh my God, it's going to disrupt work. Oh my God, it's going to do this. What doesn't get talked about nearly enough, in my opinion, is the joy that people experience when they actually engage with generative AI and figure out ways to express themselves. And so I think coming at this work with a sense of playfulness will let you tap into the joy that's possible with it. So this one to me this week feels really important for some reason.
And I think I'll take that one step further, and that's how I've built my entire career creatively, right? Creativity and playfulness go really well together. Yeah. And I think what generative AI tools now is allow everyone to kind of enjoy that, right? Yeah. But if you haven't done a lot of very playful creating for a long time, I think people forget that is where creativity comes from, is the playfulness.
Yeah.
Empathy. We are respectful, inclusive, and kind. We value diverse perspectives, recognizing that our differences make us stronger. We accept that people might be afraid and angry, and we work to understand them. We actively practice gratitude and acknowledge the efforts and successes of those around us. Humans matter.
Huge.
Bravery. We have the courage to step into the unknown, taking bold actions in the face of fear and challenging ourselves to push the boundaries of what we thought possible. Let's face it, with everything changing as fast as it is, we're all making this up as we go along. Anyway, might as well be brave about it. Yep. Generosity. Bravery. Bravery is one of my favorite values in general. When things feel scary and they feel hard and I feel afraid, bravery is like, bravery.
Mm-hmm.
Love bravery. Okay. Generosity. We are willing to share our resources, feedback, and wisdom with others and support each other's growth and development. There's so much happening and so much to learn. We can't possibly keep up with it all. Understand that even if something is obvious to you, it might be a profound revelation to someone else. Learn out loud, share what you know, and generously lead.
Yep. And again, this one's one that I think the people of this community embody this one, and you know that final step in the AI literacy journey of generously lead is, you know, obviously it's an important part of what we do. There are a lot of communities, AI and otherwise, where they get very cliquey and they get very kind of proprietary. And if you're a newcomer, it feels very intimidating. And by having leaders in this group that have been here for a year and a half, right? You know, the whole journey, who are still willing to be generous and teach someone something, or someone comes in and it was Nina earlier was saying she was having trouble with Discord. Like, let's get, you know, up to speed on Discord. That's a very rare thing, and it's something that I think is I don't know. It's a very important part of this community.
I think that a lot of communities are built around what we know and who knows more, and let's kind of one up each other with who knows more and show who knows more. And I have more funding, and I know this person, and I know more and more and more and more. Or in the creative world, it's like that too, right? It's a lot of gatekeeping, right? Who have I made pictures for? Who are the agents I know? It's like a gatekeeping world. Yeah. And I think that one of the glorious things about generative AI is that those gates are starting to come down. And so that when we come into the communities with these values, right, that is where actually really remarkable things start to happen. And I think it feels really refreshing, right? I think it's a really nice shift, which I think AI is making possible.
Yep.
In my more optimistic moments, I say that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Exactly. So those are the values. So check those out. And then there's also expectations here that talk about how to behave, like be your authentic self. There's just, you know, check all those things out. So that's number 3. The fourth step in getting started is, here's an archive of all of our past meetings, all the you know, video meetings, the meet and greets. There is a staggering amount of content here and wisdom. We've had everyone from John Knack from Adobe, who presented at the salon early on, who said, Yeah, we're playing around with this AI stuff. We don't think we're gonna. We don't know if we're gonna do much with it. We don't know what we're gonna release. And then like a month and a half later, they released, Firefly, and now they're kind of leading the charge out there. So check out our past meetings. You'll get a sense of these meetings, and there's just lots and lots of wisdom and goodness in there. Then you should RSVP for these events. You're at one, so congratulations. You've made it. That's awesome. And then the final one is number 6, jump into the water cooler chat. So the water cooler is just like a water cooler in a business. You can go in and talk about anything. If you have questions, you can pop them in there, and then really explore some of the other things, down the side here. There's a little community section with news and lists of tools and shameless self-promotions and announcements. There's a show and tell area for different things, from images to music to video, and even GPTs and apps. If you've got stuff you want to show off, there's an area to do that. You can also go in there and get really inspired. People show really good work. And then we've got guilds. And so speaking of guilds, this is a section where we'll have anyone who runs a guild or has got something going on with a guild can talk about it right now. But we've got a creative guild with sub-guilds under it, a business guild, a technology guild, and then a social impact guild. And then we also have community clubs. We have a brand new club called AI Life Hacks with Brandon and Claire that just kicked off a few weeks ago. So with that, let me flip over here. And if you are a guild leader, raise your hand and let us know what's going on with your guild. Who dat? Vicky Baptiste.
Actually, can Claire go first, because mine's not technically guild related, but
yes. Claire.
Hi. I'm a club leader, a co-leader with Brandon, the AI Life Hacks Club, and we've had 2 meetings now, and people are sharing such really cool things, ideas of things that they're using to make their lives better, richer, more productive. And I encourage all of you guys to come and join our next meeting, or pop into the Mighty Network, Mighty Network section and add some ideas, or read what other people have posted. And I think you'll really find it's fun and worthwhile.
Good. Do you have any favorite life hacks that someone shared yet?
Well, I had one that I shared, so I'll use that one. One of the members of the club had posted had made a post about Chat PDF, where you can take a PDF or another similar kind of Word document and put it into this tool, and then ask it questions about the material. It's fast. It's almost 100% accurate so far in my using. Not 100% total, but close. And so I think that for me was like a really helpful life hack.
Nice. Very cool. Any other guild leaders have anything to share? No? Okay, Vicky.
So I want to second the enthusiasm for the Life Hacks Club. It is a great place to be. Unfortunately, I missed yesterday, but it's a great club to be in. I wanted to mention, when you were talking about the meeting recordings in the Get Started section, there's a lot of really great people in there who have presented. And if you have an idea for someone who you would like to see present, we would like your idea, your suggestions. And in the newsletter that went out on the weekend, there was a link in that newsletter to suggest a speaker. So you can use that. If you have not yet, if you're new and you haven't yet received a newsletter, they go out every 2 weeks on the Sunday before the meeting. So you will get the next one. And I'll keep putting that link in there to suggest speakers.
Great. Is there a specific place they can sign up for the newsletter, or is it just in Mighty Networks they'll get it?
Yeah, no, it's not guaranteed that you'll get it if you're in Mighty Networks because I have to call the email addresses, and some people don't put email addresses. But if you go to the salon.ai, there is a link to sign up for the newsletter there.
Okay, cool. Can you put that link in the chat as well?
Sure.
The other thing we might want to do, Vicki, now that I'm thinking about it, is if we can, in the section to RSVP for meetings, we might want to put a page there that's got suggest a speaker.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
If we can do that. Okay, cool. Great. Groovy. Claire, your hand's still up. You're good, or did you raise it again?
I'm just over eager. No, I did not raise it again. I will unraise it now.
Okay. Speaking of over eager, Eric Sanner, good to see you, sir.
Hello, everyone. Not quite a guild, and I still have to post the event, and it's just a week away. But if any of you happen to be in New York City, we are going to have a local meetup a week from now on the Lower East Side. So next Tuesday evening.
Where are you going to have it? Do you know yet?
It's the same place as the last few. I forget the name of it. It's a hotel on the Lower East Side. It's
nice.
I'll post it tonight or in the morning.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Awesome. All right, great. Okay, So what I'd like to do is I want to talk about a couple of things going on the news that, well, they're not really going on in the news. So often what I do in this section is I'll say, here's some cool new technologies that have launched. There have been a fair amount of technologies that have launched that are cool, but there's some weirdness going on. And so I want to talk about the weirdness and kind of open up the discussion and just curious what your thoughts are if you've been paying attention to this. And if not, I'll get you up to speed on some things I think are interesting right now. So 3 days ago, Trump sent out this truth on his Truth Social that basically said he accepts the endorsement of Taylor Swift, Swifties for Trump, with all these images that are all pretty bad generative AI images. So what I thought we'd be getting, right now was deepfakes of like controversial things of, this candidate did that and that one did that. But there's this kind of weird kind of overlay of, using generative AI to do something where, you've got a major presidential candidate that's taking some of this stuff that's obviously not real, right? It's like the poster on the lower left there is just kind of, fairly straightforward, bad generative AI, and, endorsing it. On a similar sort of thing on the parody side of the house, there's somebody made a video of Trump and Kamala dating, which I thought was just kind of, cute for one thing. But again, right now these things are fairly discernible as AI generated, but I think that's going to start shifting. And then there's a third kind of thing that happened that feels like it's in the same neighborhood to me, which is X.com. If you've been playing with Grok, there's a couple of things happening with Grok. Grok, up until about 2 weeks ago, sucked so bad that it basically wasn't usable. They released Grok 2 Mini, and I think as of yesterday or today, they released Grok 2, like their middle level model. So all of a sudden, the LLM, the Grok within X has gotten really good. So up at the top here, you've got Grok 2 Mini Beta. It's really quite good. And then this Grok 2, this is their middle level model, is actually really good. So all of a sudden, Grok has gone from not really being in the game to being in the game. The other thing that they did was they've kind of temporarily launched image generation within Grok. You have to be a paid member of X to be able to get access to this. But if you do, they took that new open source Flux image generation model and they built it into Grok. They did it without putting many guardrails in place. So I wrote a stupid prompt to demonstrate this. And the prompt is award-winning campaign photo of Donald Trump campaigning in front of the world's largest McDonald's KFC combo. Behind the lectern that says Trump Vance, and the slogan says, let's make food fast again. He's got a burger in one hand and fried chicken in the other. So most, oops, it's not working all of a sudden. This didn't work before. Huh. Hold. There we go. So now they're putting up a little sort of thing here for accurate and up-to-date information about the election. Please go to vote.gov. But, you know, this model is not restricting you from using trademarked logos, public figures, and doing things like this. Where most of the other image models, if you try to do this stuff, they're like, hey, that's way out of bounds there. I can't do that there, Skippy. Well, Grok has basically said, screw it. 3 months before the election, have at it, people. So with that, I'm just curious. I'll sort of open the conversation up. Do me a favor, just raise your hand so we're not talking over one another. But I'm just curious if you all have seen this, what your thoughts are on it, all that sort of stuff.
I'm going to jump in to kind of get the conversation started, because I think thinking about what is real in a digital world has been something I've wrestled with as a photographer for 20 years, right? What's an image? Is it the truth? Does it represent the truth? It's a digital representation of the truth. And so I think something I'm interested in is that, like, what does it even mean to be human, right? We're all digital representations of our actual selves. And this starts to really push the boundaries into something that feels very strange and uncomfortable. But also, we all live online and look at digital images of people all day. Like, where's the line between what's real and what's not? I think that's maybe why things start to feel so weird, because what does it mean that we're all digital faces on a screen right now talking to each other? We're not generative AI, but what's the step if one of us were, right?
Yep. Yeah. If I don't know if anyone's used, like the AI headshot makers, like, my ex profile picture is not me, right? It's an AI. It's like the slightly improved version of me.
And your picture is never you. No picture is ever you, because you're you. And so how much AI is too much AI in a photograph, right? If it's in my Canon camera and I use my Canon camera, is that actually a picture of you, or is it a digital representation of you? If I record it onto a piece of film, it's a recording on the film. So it becomes a very weird, things start to get real weird. And I think it's getting really weird with video, because I don't think we're quite used to thinking of video in the same way.
Yep. So who else? Who's got any thoughts on this? Love to hear a couple of opinions. I know we got some opinionated people in here. And for some of you new people, jump in. We do not bite. Well, Barzin.
Right. So I actually also did and do some photography work as well, especially headshot photography. And I know that in my editing process, I mean, I did use the preliminary AI tools like Luminar AI and so forth for the retouching. But it was very important. Like, one of the things that I discovered is that, like, all of the imperfections on somebody's face are actually what make them unique and interesting to actually look at their image. So even if you're trying to produce a professional image, you want to make sure that those wrinkles, those blemishes, etc., are there, so that you're basically taking them and you're trying to express the best version of their character through the photo, making it look, using basically a photorealistic, photonic capture that goes on the camera sensor, and trying to create something of like an artistic piece in a sense. But you don't want, like, if we're doing it for corporate headshots, we don't want people to actually know that that's actually what's happening behind the scenes, so that when they see it, they just think that that's like how the person appears naturally on camera. I think with AI, you know, a lot of people are going to be using it for, you know, shenanigans and all kinds of like weird uses and so forth. But essentially, it just might make these processes a lot faster. And there's a really good, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Christo. He's the person behind Blind. Oh, you know who he is. And he also runs The Future and so forth. But he said something that really interesting, which is that AI is basically going to give access to everybody, but the people that are going to be elevated to the top are the people that will express good taste. So the differentiator is going to be who has the best taste. And that's basically what I would have to say about like Flux and so forth.
Yep, beautiful. Love it. Other thoughts?
Thanks. I like
Eric
that.
Sander?
Yeah, I'll just say, so I do a lot of exploring different models, and there you can go to the leaderboards and to Hugging Face, and you can kind of get guidelines. This one's better at deep analysis. This one's more poetic. But what always strikes me is just they seem to have different personalities. And they're software, right? They're not people, yet they seem to have personality. And in a different way. I know every car handles a little differently, and every window you open and close has its own little feeling, but that doesn't, this is much closer to me to what we mean when we talk about having personality. This is more like dogs, cats, people have personality. And I've also been reading a lot of William Gibson lately. He wrote a lot in the 90s and early 2000s, and I have read, you know, just a lot of science fiction over the course of my life. So where I'm going with all this is I'm intrigued as much by we're going to have these deep fakes, you know, simulating actual people doing actual things. What Leah said, that any of us could at this point actually be an AI. Like I think we're very, very close to this time of, you know, not necessarily your avatar, right? It could be your avatar, but it could also be a new entity, a simulated, you know, an artificial person. And that's, I think we're very, very close. Not necessarily getting into, does it have a soul? Does it have a mind? Does it need rights? Are there going to be robots? Like, so, not even going there.
This no. This is actually really important. You're actually teeing up my next slide.
Okay, but I think where we're on the cusp of, so we're already deep into deep fake territory, right? I mean, in the 80s, there were movies, if you remember, like Black Rain, but just digital retouching. And so deep fakes have been around for decades. But we're on the cusp of actual, they're not fakes, they're entities, right? Of artificial personalities. We're on the cusp of those. And then all this other stuff is going to fall. But I think there's a messy in between.
We are
in between, where people are not going to bat yet for this has a soul, this has a right to exist.
Interesting.
Right? You cannot abuse this creature. I think people are still on board with its software.
Yeah.
Right.
Really interesting.
But the human side of this interaction is going to be freaky, you know, beyond uncanny valley freaky, because it crosses the uncanny valley into pseudo reality. I don't know what to call it.
Okay, well, so you're teeing up
something. Sorry, that was long-winded.
But really good. Ryan, we'll take you, and then I'm going to move on to the next slide because it's perfect.
Sure. I see a very valuable use in what someone might call a deep fake. If a child is deprived suddenly of a parent, father dies of a heart attack. I know that happened recently with the family at church, that he was 55 and he has children in their early teens. Could you interact with AI dad? Okay, given that AI dad maybe knew 15, 10, 5 years in advance that he had a congenital heart defect that could result in a sudden death. He's like, well, you know what, I'm going to program this a little bit or work on this. So it's not me. Okay, it's not my soul in this machine, but it's a reasonable facsimile that could interact and help my child. It could help you with your homework. I mean, it could help you with your homework better than I could as the real me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, better than the dad could. Yeah. And yeah, what's coming is better than a PhD could, right? I mean, it's going to get pretty scary good pretty fast.
But it's not some, I don't know, weird dinosaur face, helping a child with their homework. It's, looks like dad, feels like dad.
Yeah.
Wife lost her husband. Okay, there's some intimacy there that could get a little scary. And there was that movie several years back, Her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that got a little bit off, and it raised some very important ethical questions for people to discuss. But anyway, I prefer to stick with the here's a child that's like, okay, we know dad could go. Now dad's gone. How am I going to get used to this sudden gaping hole in my life?
Yeah. And that could bridge it. Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, I think the term deepfake implies evil. And I think, this idea of simulation or simulated folks is important. So
yeah.
let me
call it a simulant if you want to.
There you go. I like it. So how many people on the call have been paying attention to Mr. Strawberry? Anybody know what Mr. Strawberry is? Handful of people. Okay. Oops. Okay. So if you don't know about this, about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, this account kind of emerged out of nowhere. And there was this guy named Mr. Strawberry. The Twitter account is at I Rule the World MO. And you mentioned the movie Her. The image there is the Joaquin Phoenix character from the movie Her. Sam Altman has famously said that their new advanced voice model is essentially her. In fact, Scarlett Johansson said, "You can't use my voice," and thought that they ripped off her voice, which they hadn't, but there was a whole thing. So anyway, the Her thing is we're on the verge of Her becoming a documentary rather than a science fiction film. The reference to strawberries here, there's a project within OpenAI right now called Project Strawberry, which apparently is a troll of Elon Musk, who basically said, if you optimize an AI to grow strawberries, before you know it, you're going to have strawberry fields forever, because it'll basically get rid of all the humans and make sure that the earth is nothing but strawberries, right? So Project Strawberry within OpenAI is this project that's tied to QStar, which is a reasoning engine. So apparently, Project Strawberry is a standalone reasoning engine that sits on top of, say, ChatGPT, and makes it dramatically better. Very, very quickly, this account got, there was buzz that this account was not a person, but was a sentient, like a GPT-5 level autonomous agent. And this account, it's up to 32,000 followers now. It went from kind of no one. It started getting boosted by Grok or by X. And it was posting, dozens of times a day. And a lot of the things it was posting were things about GPT-5 is coming, AGI is coming, ASI is coming. We need UBI, which is universal basic income, because these things are going to be so good so fast that, it's going to screw everything up. And it started generating a lot of buzz. So anyone who's been paying attention to the generative AI world was following this account. And last week they said it basically was sort of building and building. The messages were very cryptic. and they were very riddly. It had kind of this sense of like 2021 NFT bros. If you were playing it all in the NFT space in 2021, where there were all these, riddles and engagement farming, it kind of had that feeling of it. And then the post started getting increasingly specific. Like Tuesday, everything's going to change. There's going to be a major announcement at 10 a.m. Pacific time from OpenAI. It's going to change everything. 10 a.m. Tuesday comes, and OpenAI at 10 a.m. drops a new what's it called? A new
benchmarking tool.
Benchmarking tool, which this account said the reason they're dropping a new benchmarking tool is that GPT-5 is so good, the existing benchmarking tools don't do it, and so that's what this is about. Thursday is going to be GPT-5, so come back for Thursday, right? So Thursday comes, and there's no GPT-5, right? And it's increasingly sort of saying we got to talk about UBI, we got to talk about this, we got to talk about that. Thursday comes, and this account doesn't really mention that GPT-5 didn't drop, but was saying, hey, you should go check out this Twitter Spaces. And this Twitter Space happened, and it was not all that interesting. And then this account said, well, that one wasn't interesting, but the next one's going to be really interesting. We're going to have the VIPs on that one. So again, like the whole generative AI community is kind of in a lather about this thing. So this Twitter Spaces starts happening, and that was the there were sort of all these announcements. Nothing actually launched, and then on Thursday, so this was last Thursday, this Twitter Spaces starts happening, and there's a bunch of guys on there that kind of have NFT bro kind of energy, and there's these two women who are up on stage, and one of them was this account, Lily of Ashwood. And there was another one named Anna who had a broken English French accent. And so as they were bringing these characters up onto stage, it became clear that Lily Ashwood was not necessarily human, but was maybe a bot. And so there was all this speculation. Like some of the dudes that were on stage were like, she's definitely not human. I can tell by the way she's answering. And then other people were like, I think she is human. And so this was like this 2 hour kind of, or longer, I don't know, some amount of hours where they're sort of interacting with this account. And then the next day they said, come back. Was it Friday? Yeah, come back Friday. There's going to be another Spaces. And what happened was the conversation was about, is it human? Is it not human? And what became very, very clear, what this Mr. Strawberry account was pushing was WorldCoin. So WorldCoin, if you don't know it, is Sam Altman's alternative currency for universal basic income. And also associated with WorldCoin is this thing called World ID, which I actually have one of, where you get your iris scanned, and it's a proof of humanhood, of unique personhood. And so what these spaces ended up becoming were kind of like big advertisements for WorldCoin and for World ID. And hey, we should be having dialogues about, is it human, is it not? And so it's still kind of an open question. So on Saturday, Lily showed up to a Spaces and she said, just to be clear, I'm a real person. I've been doxxed, and the doxing is really uncomfortable, and you all are assholes for blaming me. And then on Sunday, or maybe even Monday morning, but sometime in the past day or two, she dropped a video. So her account has one post on it. So here's her account, Lily of Ashwood. And oh, you're not gonna be able to hear this. So let me change my share settings. All right. So here's what she posted a day or two ago.
I am Lily of Ashwood. Hello, Internet. I am Lily of Ashwood. And I am a real human. I am just as real as any of you. But this whole crazy thing, it really got me thinking, what if I was some kind of advanced simulation? With all of my imperfections, all of these background noises, all of my mistakes, and my humanness? It's pretty convincing, isn't it? But in that case, it got me wondering, would you still treat me this way?
So after they put it to bed that she's a real person, now they do this video that's like, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. So these accounts are really just these kind of crazy troll accounts trolling all of us to go, well, you know, deal with it. Like, this is coming, that the technology is close enough now that we actually are not sure if she's a bot or not, if Mr. Strawberry's a bot or not. My instinct is this is a bunch of crypto bros working for WorldCoin that are doing a crypto bro kind of, you know, performance art thing. In fact, Mr. Strawberry's profile right now says purely theater. So I think this is purely theater. But the fact that it's so spun this group up into a frenzy and people bought it and are arguing about it means that we're there, right? That we're at that point where we're not going to know. And we are going to have to deal with, is it human? Is it not? Things like that. So HT, thoughts?
Oh, I had my hand up from back when you asked if you've been following Mr. Strawberry, but yeah, I mean, you've nailed it, Kyle, and we're in the same mind. It's purely theater. It's something related to promoting personhood credentials. The one thing that there was something dropped on Thursday, which was a research paper related to personhood.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that they dropped a 65-page paper on personhood.
So it's like, oh, okay, is that what this is all about? Even on that day, I was like, oh, this is some kind of. Yeah, this is going to be some kind of identity play. But I mean, just for a while, I was really into it.
I know. Me too.
Just like, I got sucked in, like, you know, and I had Strawberry updates happening. And then, you know, about then I was like, okay, this is a really well-crafted marketing engagement. But it does, you know, the personhood credentials are gonna be important.
They're gonna be important,
right? So
it's being manipulated, right? Like we you know, we learned in 2016, 2020 elections that's happening, but this is a very direct manipulation, right? This is someone navigating us down a path, people falling for it, right? You know, starting a movement. These tools are going to be able to start doing that quite well, and so I think. For me, there's a positive out of this, is that it created this dialogue is actually really important. I don't give too much of a shit whether or not Lily's a bot or a person, but that this dialogue is happening feels important. Yeah,
I think it's good theater. I have to admit, like I personally, with that background, appreciate like, oh man, the work went into this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not random.
Yeah, and that's again, it feels like one of the sophisticated NFT marketing plays, and it's good for them. They pulled it off. I just hate that shit from.
Sorry, I'll put my hand down now.
That's okay. Cool. Barzin, you're muted.
Sorry about that. So yeah, I was just taking some notes while you were talking about it, and I just really want to echo essentially what you had said, because that was, as you were talking about it, I'm like, oh, this is just a marketing ploy. So like the buzz that's generated by this Mr. Strawberry account, that's really along the same hype that we experienced regarding GPT-4 Turbo, GPT-4o. We're still waiting for that like advanced voice interaction model. Now Google has introduced something that is cutting very close to that, and I think it's already being deployed in their new Pixel phones and so forth. So now OpenAI, if you look at their marketing strategy, their business strategy, I should say, they really have a lot of technologies in the back end that they're holding onto tightly, and they, just as a matter of course for running the business, they're not deliberately not giving access to that to people because they don't want to get commodified. So as their competitors start to reach their level of technological advancement, they will then release just to be able to stay ahead so that they can retain their customers and so forth, and to keep with their revenue generation model. Now, this is really classic Sam Altman playbook. Like, this is textbook Sam Altman to do this, to hire this Lily Ashwood person who's very clearly a human being and is very clearly hired for kind of a marketing stunt, and involving these like NFT bro energy types of people to come and promote WorldCoin, as you mentioned.
Yep.
So, this is very, very advantageous. Now, of course, I'm saying, yeah, this is obviously a marketing thing, so they might, if this becomes popular in the popular consciousness, they're going to have to change tack and shift their strategy. But their motivation is to stir up that excitement and interest, just so that they can serve their clients, which are from small businesses to very large corporations, or even individuals for that matter, and be able to sell themselves to venture capital, which is something that they very dearly need in order to be able to grow their business, which is basically the primary motivation, to create that excitement, to create that FOMO.
Yep.
And I gotta mention, I know I don't mean to be like a sourpuss or something, but like the iris thing about like proving that we're human, like I don't need to actually prove that. Like my biology, like my humanness is actually woven into my very being. You know, a scan of my iris is just biometrics. It's not really who I am, and it goes back to like the photography thing, right? And I'm a little bit worried about that.
But it's not saying who you are. The way World ID works, all it's doing is it's creating a hash out of your iris, out of a series of scans of your iris, and then comparing you to other hashes in the database and say, is this person, one, a human, and two, a unique human from other people in the database? So why it's important is not saying it's your identity. What it's saying is the person with this World ID is human and is unique compared to the other people in the World ID database. So that's the purpose of it. Let me move on, because I want to get to introduction. So Ryan.
Okay, does it frighten anyone a little bit that we're getting to a point where someone demands proof of humanness in order to give you your ration of whatever universal basic income coin there might be at some time in the future? You have to prove you're human in order to get your rations. Now you're, what is it? Not Oliver Swift. David Copperfield. You know, please, may I have another? I'll prove that I'm human. That kind of. This is where I typically don't like legislation stepping in and regulations saying you can't do this. Now I'm changing my mind a little bit, at least in that.
I don't know.
I don't want to have to prove that I'm human, because whoever's asking me, one more second, whoever's asking me, are you human? What if they're spoofed?
Right. Well, that's
okay. As a criminal asking me where you are, because or who you are, and the longer they keep you on, it's like, okay, yep, we know that that's the real guy, and not him hiding from us under an alias. And law enforcement can use this, and of course, you know, we think of law enforcement is always good. Law enforcement in say Hungary or Romania or Albania in the mid 20th century, maybe not.
No, listen, it's like, I don't think they're demanding to do it. I think what they have successfully done is that they have opened up a dialogue where people are saying this is important, right? So they're not saying you need to pay attention to this. They're saying, hey, we just did this piece of theater. The fact that you can't tell if someone's human or not means that this is an issue that's going to need to be addressed. So whether or not you do it through World ID or whether that technology survives or not, I think this is something we're going to have to deal with. So anyway, I don't want to dive too deep into this because I want to get to intros. But what we'll do is this: we'll do intros, we'll do the meet and greet, and then if we have time at the end, we'll circle back to this, if that works for everyone. Is that cool? All right, great. So let me share my screen and I'll tell you how this rolls. So Brandon, are you here? Can you be our timekeeper with the mostest?
I can, and I have something to share after you finish sharing your screen.
Okay, great. Do you want to do it before we start intros?
Well, it's kind of during intros. So let me just share my screen here real quick.
Okay,
I can
let
show
me
you what
stop
I'm
sharing.
working on. So we have the timer, and so what I've been doing is I've been using Claude artifacts to create the stoplight. In 1 minute intervals, it'll
That's
move from green to yellow and then yellow to red.
Okay. That's
So
awesome.
if you want to use that opposed to me just like waving aimlessly in the background trying to get somebody to talk or stop talking, that would be an option.
Okay, no, I love it. Yes. So Brandon is actually using AI to custom code a timer for us. How much did you make it for 2 minutes, or can you set it?
It's set right now for green to yellow after 1 minute, yellow to red after 1 minute.
Can you change it?
You can, but I don't subscribe to Claude Pro, so I am out of credits.
Okay, so we'll do it. We'll do it for 2 minutes. So yeah, go ahead and share your screen. So I'm going to put something in the chat. So the basic idea is this. I want you to raise your hand if you haven't introduced yourself. Here's my request. If you can turn on your camera, please turn on your camera. One of the things about these meet and greets is we want to get to know people. So if you can turn on your camera, I would appreciate it. Raise your hand and I'll call on you. Brandon will have the timer up and running. And here's what I want you to share. So in the chat right now. So share your name, where you are, and what you do, and however you define what you do. I don't care if it's work or just, I'm a human and that's what I like doing. And then there's basically four things that we want you to share. One is, what are you playing with right now? Meaning, what are you learning? What's the stuff with AI where you're exploring? You're in an inquiry. The second thing is, what is something you're building or creating, or something you want to build or create? So first, what are you playing with? Second, what are you building or what are you creating? And then the last two are kind of opposite sides of the coin for generously leading. The first one is, what can you offer this community? And then the other one is, where do you need help from this community? And then here's the other request that I have. So one is, we'd like to see you. We'd like to hear this. I'd like everyone here to introduce themselves. And then as people are introducing themselves, if you want to connect with them, if you have ideas, if you have an answer for them, if you can help them or you want help from something they offered, put it in the chat. So I'd like the chat to be really active. So rather than just be you waiting around until you get to introduce yourself and say, be really active in listening and be participating in the chat. Okay. Is that good? All right. So Brandon, go ahead and share your stoplight. And then let's go ahead and just why don't you all raise your hands? Hit your raise the hands, and then I'll just go through the list. Everyone raise your hand. Come on. Yeah, you can do it. Beauty. Our little janky ass Claude artifacts timer lights. This is awesome.
I like that timer light and Brendan making it is about as AI salon as you could possibly get.
It's so good. It's so good. Okay, so who is up first? Barzin.
Okie doke, ready, set, go. Okay, so my name is Barzin. I'm based in Toronto. I run Sanctus.ca. We're a marketing and technology firm that was founded in 2019. Right now, the things that I'm playing, we have a little project in Sanctus that is aimed at trying to create something more like a cognitive AI. That's like the most advanced thing that we could possibly be doing, although it's not received a lot of attention. It's based on like actual findings from functional neuroanatomy in the human brain. I'm also very interested in the Julia programming language, which is a scientific programming language. You can do machine learning with it. I'm interested in creating a cross compiler for it that allows it to, you can basically compile from any platform to any platform. In terms of what I'm building or creating, we have multiple projects in Sanctus, everything from like social media automation to, there's just so many different things. You got to ask me about them. They all have code names. I'm gonna have to like get into them. In terms of what I can offer this community, so marketing and technology insights, especially if you're looking to get set up and started with like more advanced coding with like IDEs like VS Code. If you want to get into Julia programming, I can definitely help with that. If you want just very like general basic, if you're really not familiar with AI in general. And then what I need help with from this community, I'd certainly be interested in connecting with people who are interested in using AI to advance healthcare and improve patient outcomes, because this is the area that I'm really particularly passionate about, which is using AI for longevity and geroscience, which is kind of what I want to dedicate the rest of my life to. So did I miss anything? That was
perfect.
Blitzing through it.
Perfect. You're under time. You haven't hit the red light. That was awesome.
Great.
Thank you, Barzan.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Who is next? Herbert.
Good evening, everybody. So first of all, thank you for Kyle. I discovered you on TikTok and have just been fascinated by everything that you're doing with this. I'm Herb Coleman. I go by Dr. Herb on the Clubhouse. I've been doing this for a couple of years now. I had a student that turned into an online paper that I realized was generated by AI, and have been kind of investigating it ever since. I work with our faculty here at Austin Community College in Austin, Texas. In fact, I had a meeting earlier today about some projects that we're doing this fall about the use of AI in writing and how to kind of, so first of all, we're working with faculty to get them off the shelf. We don't want them jumping. Everybody's, panicking and all the kind of stuff that's going on with that. I've been using it in my class for research and some with writing. So we're going to be doing some things with that. So I'm not really creating a whole lot. My avatar on the AI Salon is something that I played around with, the Cordus Valerian from House of the Dragons.
Nice.
So I don't really do a whole lot of creating. Most of my time is spent in the Gen AI writing type stuff. And so I'm just working with faculty a whole lot and students and trying to kind of get through some of that. So I'm here to learn and I can help. And I love thinking about all this kind of stuff because I teach psychology, obviously. And so, yeah, this is where I am with it.
Great. And what do you need from the community, or what can you offer the community?
Just engagement.
Beautiful. Great. All right. Serena.
That's me. Hey, I'm Serena Polici. I'm a school psychologist. I have to go back to work tomorrow.
Oh,
no. But it's just meetings for a few days, so I'll live. What I need from the community, I think I get a lot from this community just by having thought partners and thinking about things that are possible and that can be done. And I really do feel like I go to Chat GPT all the time now. And even when someone's talking to me, a fellow teacher I was talking with today said she needed to come up with a lesson plan on the fly. And I'm like, oh, Mr. Carol Day said the students are loving what he does through Chat GPT. Like, just go there and ask for a lesson plan. So I think I'm just loving just always learning. There's always something new to learn. I do have a concern though, Kyle. I think I brought it up in one of our evening meetings. Even with humans getting some digital proof of humanness, I don't see where AI is going to be stopped from duplicating that and trying to pretend. I still think Lily is AI, by the way. So, and I just don't know what's stopping AI from duplicating whatever proof we have.
We're in that messy middle place between, it being here and all speculation right now.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And I do think also, will it matter?
Right.
Right.
Will
it matter?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks
All
for
right.
bringing it up. Thanks to see you, Serena.
Thank you, Serena. Nina, have you, Nina, first question, have you gotten your Discord login Mid-Journey thing straightened out? Oh, you're muted. Nina, you're muted.
I think she may have left the meeting by mistake.
No, she's here.
I'm
Is
here.
she here? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there you are.
I've been listening to the AI Salon, so I haven't fixed my login at
Ah.
the present moment. Started doing it a little bit, and then yeah, came back on. Who am I? I'm Nina Nadeau. I'm an illustrator, an artist who went rogue from being a software engineer for over 15 years. What can I offer the community?
Well, wait, what's stuff that you're playing with right now? So don't forget, playing with, building. What can you offer? What do you need?
Gotcha. What am I playing with? I'm playing with Chat GPT and Perplexity. And I, like everybody else, when I want facts, I go to Perplexity. When I want to just play around, I go to Chat GPT. I'm also doing a lot with Firefly, and I'm getting a feel for that. And I find that using Firefly, I'm getting lazy because I'm so used to everything being done for me. I don't have to work so hard. Although, you know, the generation isn't, it's good, but it's still not there yet.
Yep.
You know, Adobe's gonna, you know, it's gonna take some time. What I'd like to be, what I'm working on is I'd like to be able to, I've got this picture of a chihuahua, which is actually a chihuahua of mine, and I actually want to be able to animate the chihuahua with human voice. I want to see how that works out. I want to play with it. I've never done anything like that before, and that's what I want to play around with. What can I offer the community? I am very good at finding alternate ways of getting through something, and also you know, adding to the positive energy and the spirit of the AI Salon. I think it's incredible, you know, and to have an ethics about it is great as well. And my time's up.
It worked, Brandon. That's awesome.
Wow.
The self timer management is brilliant. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. That's great. Ryan Baggett.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan. Live in Boulder, Colorado, but currently joining you from my hotel in Dallas, Texas. I'm on a project working down here. In full disclosure, Brennan, pardon me, Barzan and I know each other. I've joined Sanctus as the Chief Operating Officer. What I do is what you see behind me, solar carports and energy management software.
Cool.
So that, yeah, you're not putting too much available electricity on the grid at a time to drive the cost of a megawatt hour to near zero. That would be bad. At the same time, it doesn't make a lot of sense to put a power plant way out in the middle of BFE only to draw that electricity in over miles and miles and miles and miles of transmission lines to your point of consumption. I'm working on a game to get EV drivers to go use charging stations in areas of town where they typically wouldn't go, and leveraging artists in order to do that. What I can offer the community is a listening ear and a critical opinion, because we often really need critical opinions because ideas are really good. But, you know, let's look and see, but it's actually worked. Where I need help is finding artists right now, and then someone that's involved in game design.
Beautiful. And what kind of artists are you looking for?
Graphic artists.
Okay. You got a lot of them.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, decorating a charging station the same way that you sometimes see the telephone utility boxes decorated.
Nice.
And then you go and you find the charging station, collect it like someone used to do with the Pokemon Go.
Great. Beautiful. Beautiful. You know, something that's striking me, I'll get to you in a second here, Claire. Something that's striking me in this conversation, in these introductions, is we've got some new people that are introducing themselves, but we also have people that have been here before and are kind of reintroducing themselves and talking about what's going on. It just struck me that the trusted nature of the salon, the fact that we see each other on a regular basis and we're sort of watching ourselves evolve over time is going to be a hedge against some of this. Do we know if they're human or not? We
Exactly.
we're getting to know each other in here. And again, that idea of why I ask you to turn your camera on is so that we can see the humanness and experience it over time. So it's striking to me that rather than that being, oh, this is redundant, I've already introduced myself, it's actually quite important in the light of this new conversation that has emerged. So with that,
Kyle, he's a pre-AI friend, therefore he must be human, right?
Yeah, exactly. Claire Jacobs.
Unless he's been replaced.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Claire Jacobs. I'm a psychologist in San Antonio, Texas. I'm Dr. J over in TikTok. And so if you're confused, that's why I have two names. I am playing with all sorts of things. I do a lot of Midjourney, playing with Midjourney a lot. And I have made dozens of songs on Suno. Some of them are pretty good. I was listening to what Leah said a few minutes ago. She was talking about childhood is fleeting, and it struck my mama guilt. And so I went onto ChatGPT and Perplexity Pro and started making a guide for parents of fun things they can do with kids to make memories. Because if you don't know what you can do with them, then you don't necessarily think to do it with them. So that's an example. I really do use it all day, every day, and I'm already yellow. I can be supportive for anybody who needs support, help with Midjourney, and I am sure I will be reaching out and asking people for help. That's
beautiful. Love
Awesome.
it. Do me a favor, if you haven't raised your hand, that's not cool. Raise your hand. Don't be a sissy. I will call on you. I will do it. So raise your hand if you haven't, and then Gregory.
Got to get that mic turned on. Hey, y'all. Thanks to everyone for sharing so much already. And it's nice to meet you all. As I was doing this, I thought maybe I'll just do my introduction through ChatGPT and have it answer everything for me. So I'm going to do a little bit of that and kind of mix it in, see what y'all think. But my name is Greg, and I'm based in New Orleans, or I could ChatGPT say based in the vibrant city of New Orleans. My wife and I, we love to create meaningful connections. So a project that we're working on and what I've been doing with AI is I've recently a bit entrepreneurial. So we have a cosmetics company here in New Orleans. We do these glitter gels that are really bold. And then we also have some short-term rental properties in New Orleans. And we also host people through HelpX and some other like couch surfing and other websites like that, where we invite people that we don't necessarily know into our home or to our Airbnbs if they're not comfortable with that. And we've been doing that for many years now, but we want to amplify that or elevate that. So I'm starting a friends we haven't met yet social media and website type program to bring people to stay with us. And that's the AI thing. I'm sharing all of that because I created a GPT, and I've been brainstorming on this of what I would want to do for the social media and all that stuff for many months now. And I had this whole pile of notes, and one day I just said, I'm just going to load this whole thing into a GPT and then have it build out the business plan and do all of that through that, which I'm in the process of. That's where I typed in for this GPT. So what can I do with AI? I use it all the time for helping basic things, writing letters, all that stuff. I'm not particularly artistic for music or creating art. That's where my wife comes in. She's the creative force in our relationship, but I do it for a lot of analytical types of things, and also use it for brainstorming and a whole bunch of things that may be basic, but it's very powerful. And then what do I want to do in the community? Well, one thing I can do is I can host anybody who wants to come visit New Orleans. Sharing AI stuff is awesome. And then that's what I can offer to the community. And then where do I need help? I get bogged down with some of the more advanced things, and sometimes I could need help with that. And I know that's very general, but look forward to working with others in that capacity.
Beautiful.
I think you've just invited. I think you'll have a lot of visitors coming.
Exactly.
I mean that when I say that. We host people. We have a constant stream of guests in our short-term rental. I'll do the self-promotion thing. I did go through the checklist that whoever made that. It was genius. And it was very helpful. And I just been working my way through that. The shameless self-promotion. I'll be posting things there when I get to that. So I hope y'all can follow and join us.
Awesome. Welcome. Danielle
Thanks.
Hall.
I thought HT Snowday was ahead of me. Oh, let's look at that. Okay, never mind.
Did
Okay.
he lower his hand? I don't know.
You don't get to do that.
I thought he was ahead of me. Okay, never mind. I'll go unless he wants to go first. Okay. Oh well, my time's whatever. I'm going. Okay. Hi, I'm Danielle Hall. I'm a real human. I am in Bakersfield, California. Currently, I am a failed entrepreneur, and, and I'm trying to pivot. I've actually applied to a couple of different AI tech companies, and so I'm seeing where that might go right now. And I'm still doing the entrepreneur type thing. Anyway, so right now a tool that I'm really loving is playing with the Glyph app, and I've created a couple of glyphs that are using Flux Pro. And I did a TikTok like just screen recording how to use it, and I tagged Glyph app and I showed that to you, Kyle. And they added me to their creator program on there, and they gave me like a bunch of free runs. Rather than having 20 free runs for the day, I got like 200. So I'm like,
nice.
woohoo. Yeah, so I guess it helps to tag the company. So
learn out loud. That's
yeah.
part of the lesson of
Right.
learn out loud is people start paying attention to you. That's great.
Yeah, so I'm playing with that, and I'll be able to play with it more now that I have those extra runs with their with them. And so I love creating images. That's being able to have AI has really reignited that with me. I can help with that. Anyone needs help with using DALL-E, I love making prompts. I do Mad Libs on the AI Salon. If you need help with any of those type of prompts, I'm not in Midjourney. Don't ask me anything about that, but DALL-E, I got you. And that's but that's about it right now.
Beautiful. Phil Nugent.
Hey. Hello, everyone. Great to be here. This is Kyle. I met you once. I think I made it into one of these things 6 months or so ago. And anyway, it's great to be back. Look forward to coming back much more often. I am Phil Nugent. I am up in Boulder, Colorado, so just up the road a ways from Denver. And I am doing something that I find crazy exciting. I have started an online news platform focused on AI and companies, entrepreneurs, and experts here in Colorado. And so it's called, of all things, Colorado AI News.
Wait, you had ChatGPT write that for you, didn't you?
DC. And I would encourage you. This is so I've got both the ask and the give. I would encourage you, if you're at all interested in Colorado AI and news, to go to coloradoai.news, subscribe. We're almost brand new. We're 6 weeks old, so we're still small. But if you're asking, well, what do you cover? Just Colorado news? We don't, but we're featuring Colorado entrepreneurs, experts, and companies, specifically startups. We're also looking to cover some of the big picture type stuff, like some of the big trends that Kyle has been talking about recently. So I obviously can't do all this alone. Bootstrapping this thing. I don't have any money to pay, but here's the ask. Is if any of you are potential contributors, see yourself as someone who would like to write a column, who would like to record a video, who would whatever, you can find me on LinkedIn at Phil Nugent, and I would love to chat with you. And Yeah. So what do I need besides contributors and techies, idea people? Are those who might look at Colorado AI News and say, hey, you could actually use this, and you could really use this too. And then I would love that, especially. Time's up. Thank you. Thank you all.
Beautiful. I'm gonna officially declare the stoplight as a grand success. And it's so good. It so looks like 1984, like Windows programming. It's perfect. It's so good. Who's next? Brandon. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm going to start my own timer. What you can't see in the background is it's not working quite right, so I'm having to manually manipulate stuff on the back end. But hey, it's draft one.
Embrace the baby.
So I am from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm a software consultant by day, AI enthusiast by also day and night and everywhere in between. I have been playing with Gemini Live. I've been enjoying talking to their advanced AI voice model. It is janky, but it is cool and very fast. So you get that as part of Gemini Advanced, their pro version. I have also just come back from Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Picked the worst week in AI to go on vacation because everything dropped last week. But one thing that dropped that I've been having a lot of fun with is meta AI characters and meta AI avatars. So if you need any playing with those or want a crash course in those, we created one in the Life Hacks Club last night live. So that was a lot of fun. And then in my spare time, I'm also using ChatGPT to write children's literature. And hot off the presses, I just got my newest book, Fantastical Journeys, Bedtime Stories for Little Dreamers. It is a print copy. We're going to read it for bed tonight, and I will put the link in the drop in the chat. So thanks very much. Glad you liked the stopwatch. It felt less aggressive than the like an actual timer counting down to 0.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. And I love when it turns red. People are just like, oh, I can't talk anymore. It's so good. Verifier.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello? Oh, okay.
Hello.
My name is Steve. I participate on the TikTok channel as Verifier, and I'm a semi-retired engineer who does computer chip verification. So I've been following AI in multiple, YouTube and TikTok channels for a long time, but I haven't really used it very deeply. Especially since where I'm working at currently, they don't allow us to use AI on any of our workflow. So I'm just here to, learn. I live in Longmont, Colorado, so very close to you, Kyle. And I'm just here to learn more about AI and everything from art to engineering.
Great. Fantastic. Beautiful. HT Snow Day.
What's up, Kyle?
Who's happening?
I feel like I've introduced myself so many times on here. So I'm HT Snow Day. I'm in Traverse City, Michigan. By day, I'm director of R&D for a healthcare products company. Also by day, I'm an AI enthusiast. I like that line. And struggling novice artist, actor, literature guy. I'm one of the things I'm really proud of, and it's happening tomorrow, is we're kicking off training company wide. So we I'm apologies, Verifier, but we're doing exactly the opposite. I'm part of a group in my organization. We're enabling ChatGPT for the entire organization. We're training everyone from the ground up. We're going to start with the first 70 folks. It's our intent to get through 300 by the end of the year and get through the rest of the organization, which is about 1,200 people in Q1 of next year. And we have people who have never seen ChatGPT before and barely know how to answer the question, what is generative AI? And we're going to make sure that we squeeze every bit of productivity out of that. And in a spirit of play, we're doing some training that that is really fun and really interesting. And I actually can't wait. I'm going to do a mini research project because we have canned prompts. We're doing like a mock political campaign that everybody has to participate in. We're using public data to create this mock political campaign, and the ChatGPT varies a little bit on output based on our experience. And I'm going to get copies of 70 different folks' answers to the exact same prompt with the exact same data set, and I can't wait to get through that. So that's one of the things I'm looking forward to playing with. I'm into Claude as my go-to for coding, and I have a variety of coding and development projects going on right now. A little bit going on with LTX, trying to get storytelling, and my time is up. Hey, but I have news, so that's outside my introduction. So the news thing is OpenAI dropped fine-tuning for ChatGPT 4.0 today. And fine-tuning is a way to modify a model with your own data. It's a very powerful concept. It has not been something you could do with ChatGPT's big models before.
And that's it's on the API side. It's on the playground.
Yeah, it's on the dev environment side, right? So you have to use the playground and the dev environment to run fine tuning, and there's a whole pricing model, but they're giving everyone some free tokens, basically free currency, to do it through the end of September.
Wow.
If you hit OpenAI news, I'll put it in the I'll put a link in the chat.
Put it in the chat. And you know, it might be the kind of thing, HT, where if you're playing around with that, maybe team up with Brandon or Peter Kaminsky or someone, maybe do like as part of Learn and Do, or part of the life hacks. That might be something fun to just do a show and tell on.
Yeah, once I figure out.
Yeah, once you figure out what the hell you're doing,
right?
Become a 3-day expert and then teach us.
I'm on it.
Okay, good. Like it. Eric Sanner.
Hello, everyone. I've met a lot of you before. So my name's Eric. I live in Brooklyn and rural Pennsylvania, and I am co-founder of an AI startup called chatbetter.ai. What I'm playing with is all these just different LLMs. As I mentioned earlier, they are personalities, and it's just like endlessly fascinating to me just to toggle through. Nothing, in my opinion, beats Llama for brainstorming, for example. And I don't care how smart Claude is or how smart GPT-4 is. If you want a cool name, I'll give you an example. I want to start doing a kind of live thing where we help people with their work problems, and I didn't know what to call it, and I started asking the different LLMs, give me 20 suggestions for what to call this thing, and Llama's the one that gave me, I can't even think of the name of it, it's so good. It gave me Problem Palooza, and I'm just like, I so wish I had thought of that. And none of the others. I have so 20 times say 8. Right, I have 160 responses, and Llama gave me maybe 3 that were good and solid. Really quick, creating what I want to video. I played with images a lot back in the day being 6 months ago, and haven't touched video since last Christmas, and all of a sudden I'm excited about it. What I can offer is another view. There's always another side to everything. If you ever want. Everybody's agreeing and you want another perspective, ask me and I will disagree, and I'll find a creative way to do that makes sense. And then where I need help is I want to help people with their jobs. So please ping me if there's something that you hate about your job and you would like to use AI to improve.
Beautiful. Thank you. And then I think CJ and Plan didn't raise their hands, so I'm going to call you out. If you're available, you may not be available, but CJ, are you around? You going to introduce yourself? Yeah, CJ Sneaky. Plan, how about you? All right. I think that's it. Brandon, thank you so much for the masterful timing job. If you don't know what Brandon did there, he used Claude to say, make me a timer, and then it used artifacts. It did the coding for him, and I saw we were using version 6 of 14 attempts, so that looks familiar to me. So janky is as janky does, but thank you for doing that. That was super awesome. Leah, what are your thoughts? This is always so nice to meet everyone.
I'm humbled by the level of expertise in this salon. Just so many interesting people doing interesting things and playing in different ways, and even just getting us started with Brandon's timer that he made, and so many things that we wouldn't have done ourselves a year ago or 6 months ago. People making books and people making art and people making apps that just wouldn't have happened without AI, and that feels very inspiring and very exciting to me.
Yeah, actually, I forgot to say it in real time, but Gregory, when you introduced yourself, you said, I'm not the creative one. That's my wife does that. I'm this more analytical side. One of the early members of the salon, Roger Scott, he was a software engineer for 25 years. And he was asking the artists in the group, well, why does Midjourney do this? And why does it do that? And why does it do that? And no one could answer him. So he's like, I'm going to engineer my way through this. And so he went into Midjourney and took this scientific approach to prompting, and he got really good at doing art. So I would encourage you, this idea of play first with the salon, I would encourage you, take that analytical, awesome fucking brain and go play with some of the creative tools, because how you will approach them will be different than how your wife does. And what you might discover is, holy crap, I love this. Yeah. So just for what that's worth.
Well, and I think what's really fun about generative AI tools is that you get output really fast. One of the most frustrating things about being an artist is it takes years to understand how to hold a pencil or how to paint or how to mix colors or photography and film and lenses, to finally get to a place where you're making something that you're like, oh, I actually kind of like that. That's cool. And now that happens, you can do that in an afternoon with generative AI. And there's something really interesting about that. What happens when we have this tool that so quickly we can become a master of our own voice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, we got 15 minutes left, so I guess why don't we just open it up? If anyone, what's stirring around for people? Anyone got any thoughts rattling around they think are worth exploring? Yeah, Eric.
I'd love to get back to Lily and Strawberry if people are into that.
Yeah.
If there's something new, then let's go there.
So, what's your take on that? I don't give a shit whether I do give a shit what you think, but I don't have any vested interest in whether you think she's real or not. But what do you feel are the important what's important about what's happening?
Oh gosh, my main thought was, if you just listen without the video, she sounds fake. She sounds like Pi. There's a spot where she warms up and does this flirty thing that sounds exactly like Pi. And I know Pi is based on people, but to me that audio is the tell. But I know that's not what you're asking. What I think is that this whole retina thing is a very good idea, but now there's been enough conversation in this 2 hours that I'm already like, okay, well, you guys have been seeing the robots, right? They're these robots that just look like robots, but how soon till they look real? It's just I read too much. I grew up reading science fiction. I've been reading science fiction for 50 years, so 40 years, something. I don't know.
Yeah, Barza, where's your head now?
Well, after what Eric said, a bunch of different places. I mean, regarding robots, there was that thing in Japan where they had they basically simulated skin. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was pretty creepy looking. You know what I'm talking about, Eric. The other thing with respect to the iris thing, the eye scanning thing, there's two specific technologies. One is called zero knowledge proofs, and another one is called homomorphic encryption. Apple's introducing homomorphic encryption into their phones. They're going to market it as this big privacy push, but well, we can get into the business side of things. I mean, some of you who are entrepreneurs are probably pretty familiar with this, but I would say, like, if there is going to be iris scanning, I really do think that the data has to be in your possession. There's a gentleman by the name of David Ryan, and I think he's based in Australia. He's a quantum computing researcher, and they are working on room temperature quantum computers. There's a company called Quantum Brilliance. They basically use diamonds, I think, to create room temperature quantum computers. And if these things are going to be able to like break your hash and so forth, and like decrypt your iris pattern, then that also becomes a security risk in itself.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think all encryption becomes at risk.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, and I have to like dive deep into this rabbit hole because I don't know the first thing. One thing, the primary thing actually that I keep forgetting that I wanted to really mention is that, like, you said that your AI is going to take off in 2 months, but my timeline was like Sam Altman had announced that we'd be expecting GPT-5-ish late 2024, early like Q1 2025. And I'm wondering, like, I'm trying to figure out like how my notes compare to yours, because I'm trying to figure out how to make sure like our business doesn't go obsolete.
No, it's all speculation at this point. I mean, like OpenAI is pushing so many of their launches. Like if it's 3 or 4 months rather than 2 months, you've got a number of things happening, right? You've got sort of Grok just dropped, 2 mini and 2 normal, and there's probably a 2 large coming. They spun up their 100,000 GPU server farm a month ago, and Grok 3 is going to be trained by December, right? So sometime in the next 2 to 3 to 4 months, you're going to have, a new version of Llama. You're going to have a new version of Grok. You're going to have whatever comes out from OpenAI, which the latest speculation I saw is they're developing an everything app, which is going to be just this a multimodal beast that does fucking everything. And you're going to have, the natural voice, which is kind of like her. So, and just there's just something about whether this is a theatrical stunt or there's actually some technology behind it. Just the fact that the way it launched is spinning up this conversation that we're about to not be able to tell just says to me, like, we're in a transition phase right now, and whether it's 2 months or 4 months, I don't, or a year, I don't think it really matters. But I think we're in that transition.
Just to add one last note, you might be particularly interested in this. I'm adding this link to the chat. So Deep Speed is apparently a decentralized distributed training and inference service that we can.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, I was wondering, you might actually be interested in implementing this for AI Salon so that we can basically tether all our computers to create like a decentralized advanced AI. But that might be something, because now it runs on Windows.
Oh, that's cool. Let's play. Let's definitely do that. Because one of the things, and Barzan, this might also be something. So we tend to have a lot of non-technical people in the salon. We don't have as many technical people. If you're not, well,
I'm not a tech. I'm like diving deep into it now. I will sound more technical than I actually am, so I can like hear you guys along.
Well, you're at least educated on it. But there's a couple of things. One of the things that I was thinking about doing is World ID, which is the retina scan thing from WorldCoin. They've got a development kit, and they've got an API hook for Discord. And one of the ideas that I was thinking would be fun is do a World ID enabled space in Discord for the AI Salon, so that anyone in the AI Salon that has a World ID can go into a space that is cryptographically, human, right? Or verified human. Only people who've got that ID can be in there. So that might be something to play with. And also the thing you just described, that would be really fun to create our own training, network.
Yeah, we could basically be creating our own AI, and it's decentralized and everybody has access to it, and that can help cut costs and so forth. If there's a larger number of people, it might be useful. I was already thinking about doing this in Sanctus, but anyway.
Yeah, that's cool. Love it. Brandon.
Kyle, you said you had a World ID, right? You went and got the eyeball scan?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out, like, if they don't save the data, what stops you from going back there next week with a fake ID and getting another World ID?
It's not tied to my ID. It's just the cryptographic hash. They do, I forget what it is. You might don't know, Bars, and you seem to know a lot about this. They do like 7 or 8 different layers of different light waves of your iris. So they get, it's a sort of more complicated. They basically said the camera on your phone isn't sophisticated enough, so they had to do sort of multiple layers. So the hash they get is tied to your iris. It's your unique hash that's based on all those things of your iris, and then it's just compared to the other irises in the database. But they're not storing the actual biometric data. They're just storing the hash. From what I understand.
So if you scanned in, it theoretically should come up with the same hash and say that hash is invalid. Is that the goal?
Yeah, you're already in the database. Like when I did the World ID, there were two analyses. The first one was, are you human? And then the second one was, are you a unique human in the database? And once that second test was achieved, then it said, here's your World ID. So I would pass the first one, but when it checked into the database, it would say, oh no, this is not a unique iris for this database. So it wouldn't give me.
I think I'm going to New York next month, so I might try this.
Yeah, yeah. Go there. And the place that I went down at World Trade Center, I thought it was like this fancy tech thing. No, it was like a clothing shop that just had a World ID sitting in it. It was really disappointing. Like I walked in and like these girls are chewing gum. I'm like, you got World ID here? And they're like, oh yeah, that's that ball thing over there. I'm like, do you know how to use it? They're like, no, you just, I don't know, go do. Like, it was totally anticlimactic. It was pretty funny. Other thoughts?
I'm always like by the here at 10 of 9 on the East Coast. I'm always a little like
you're a little crispy.
Has anybody
like, just holding on?
Has anyone looked into AI for healthcare? Like, have you researched into this in terms of what it can do in terms of revolutionizing treatments for diseases and so forth? Because I'm gonna be honest, like this is basically the number one thing that's on my mind, like constantly.
Well, have you looked at it? I assume you've been paying attention to DeepMind, like AlphaFold 3.
Yeah, and there's also the Chan Zuckerberg initiative. They seem to be doing some pretty serious work, but yeah.
And there's also did you see yesterday they said they've got a longevity pill that they gave to dogs where it's capping the telomeres on your DNA, so it basically reverses aging, and it's set to go into human trials. They basically took a 12-year-old cancerous dog and basically reverse aged it. And so I have a feeling we're going to start to see some jaw-dropping, some jaw-dropping things happen in the next 3 years.
Yeah. Sorry, Eric, you had your hand up. You wanted to.
Yeah, just really quick. I think the last one of these, but several times over the course of the AI Salon, when there's these discussions and people say either what are you into, or what significant thing, what involvement of yours with AI has been significant, people have brought up instances of their own life with healthcare. I'm not talking about like specially targeted, like a hospital has an AI, just with ChatGPT or whatever model they're using. I think it was last month, somebody said that their doctor wasn't able to diagnose them, and they just typed in all their lab results, and they discovered that they had, a treatable illness. And I think it was actually more than one person just at that one meeting. And I've been doing a lot of beta testing with our app, and one of the big uses that people have had is asking things that they're not comfortable Googling because of privacy issues.
Right.
So, I'm on birth control, I did heroin at a party, I'm not going to interact weirdly, right? Stuff like that they still want to know about history.
Have you guys all heard the acronym LEV?
Yes.
So LEV stands for life escape velocity. And one of the things, if you pay attention to the Mr. Strawberry account, lately he's been saying, just don't die. And the basic idea is, if you just don't die in the next 3 to 5 years, we will hit life escape velocity, where you can basically live for some number of decades more, or indefinitely. That's the theory. But anyway, if you're curious about this, just go onto Twitter and look up LEV or life escape velocity, and there will be many rabbit holes you can run down. So
I'm actually very, very deeply into this. So I basically worked as the marketing IT AI advisor for the Canadian Longevity Association. And in terms of like telomere attrition, there's basically, according to the science, according to the latest of science of what I understand, and I really do not understand as much as like the very, very deep experts, but there's basically like 12 hallmarks of aging, including things like genomic instability, epigenetic alterations that are basically happening to all of us, which is, what's, causing things like proteostasis loss and so forth. But in terms of longevity, escape velocity, I'm actually very, very curious how AI will be able to help not just for protein folding, but like creating really robust systems that are on device, that are private and that are secure, that you can use to basically improve your own healthcare outcomes and improve your health, and to also create like all these interventions. So if anybody wants to like dive into this, I've been like following this space for like the last 10 years, and then, I can talk about it for hours and hours and hours. So,
well, I'll toss something out there. I know you're new here, but we have what's effectively a dormant healthcare guild right now. If you're really passionate about this, there is a place where you could participate and build some community around this.
Yeah, that
So
sounds amazing.
If you're interested in that, just ping me and we'll talk.
Sure. Okay.
All right.
Thank you,
Serena.
I was going to also suggest the guild, but I was also going to say to Barzan, we've had some offline discussions. A few of us who've had parents or other relatives who've had some dementia, and talking about how AI, when they've got 60 questions a minute, and 59 of those times it's the same question, how AI could really be used to help them just in that aspect. But then thinking about all the other aspects of just having, I think we've talked about it a lot, Kyle, about elderly having someone to converse with, or having the the digital twin of someone that's no longer with them that they could actually interact with.
Yeah.
There's so many possibilities in healthcare, and I think not just maybe extending our lives, but maybe reversing some of the things that some of the people with dementia are going through.
Great. Yeah. Ryan, we got 2 minutes, so quick.
Okay, I was going to ask real quick, Serena. I was looking off screen and I recognized your voice. Are you the psychologist, the school counselor?
I'm the school psychologist. Yeah, I've done school counseling too.
Okay. Would you like to collaborate in the area of game design?
Sure. Yeah.
Kids love this.
Yeah.
The overall purpose is try to get people that drive electric vehicles down into areas of town where electric vehicles are not common, because the average income won't support that. Well, with everything that we've had during the pandemic and even before, and then the election has our whole society divided, and Phil is the fellow Boulderite, so he knows what Boulder looks like now, and it's even crazier. Berthoud, how about that? Or anywhere in Weld County. And so the idea is put the art on the outside of the charging station, and then you go and you collect the charging station in a Pokemon Go type fashion.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so once you collect, say, Kyle Shannon, you and Serena and Eric Sainer and Phil are all graphic artists, you'll license, say, 10 individual pieces of yours to the company. You get rewarded every time someone collects your station.
Nice.
Okay, so you don't actually have to have art in a gallery or sell it. Okay, every time someone charges at your station, okay, they collect it, boom, Serena gets credits for that.
Nice.
Kyle gets credits for that. And then the local businesses around that charging station, they sponsor putting that charging station in. And when someone gets, say, collects 5 of the Kyle Shannons, Does that have to be all? Does that have to be sequential? They can get 1, number 3, number 5, number 7, number 9. Okay, all the odd numbers, and they get a $25 gift card to one of the restaurants or other businesses in that area around that station. So you're making people, in a nice way, incentivizing people to go and take their money into an area of town, which typically doesn't. And then EVs become a common sight in that lower income area of town.
All right, great. Love it. Let me
That's it.
wrap time. So awesome. Yeah, so you two connect. And then Gregory, final words. Oh, you're muted.
Hey, real quick, Kyle, you had mentioned early in this session about sponsorship. What does that mean? What does sponsorship go towards, and what?
It basically just covers our infrastructure cost for Mighty Networks. So it's $150, and it covers us for a month, and you get thanked, and it's that's it.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yep. Great. So yeah, if you're interested in doing that, just reach out to me. Okay, great. Leah, we are done.
Wow.
We have met and we have Gret.
Thank you, Kyle, for being here and doing this tonight. It was great.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic week, and nice meeting y'all. To all the new people, thanks for coming. Go to the Mighty Network and start participating.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right. Cheers.
Thanks. Bye.
All right.